So this class started 9 years ago with this man here. I was his uke when I was a purple belt at a Globetrotters camp, and I thought he was going to snap my pelvis. It was fantastic. I then went on a pilgrimage, like Doctor Strange, like out to the Himalayan mountains to understand pressure for 9 years because of what he did to me one day. So it feels appropriate now. He is my uke. He asked. His class is about pressure. One thing I have to say to start off with is when it comes to jiu-jitsu, it's a game of power. And by that, I mean, when we go to a competition, for example, we sign up under 3 different variables. We sign up under age, we sign up under weight, and we sign up under sex. And they're all 3 variables of power. Now, if I get a 70-kilo man and a 70-kilo woman, the man's probably going to be stronger, just the way it is. So we separate out for that. Then we have weight. If I get a 90-kilo dude and a 70-kilo dude, 90-kilo dude's probably stronger. And if I get a 25-year-old 70-kilo guy and a 50-year-old 70-kilo guy, I'm going to say the younger guy's probably stronger. So what we do is we try and focus power down as much as we can, and then we measure skill. That's what we do in competition. That's pretty much the same in most sports, as in we try and control certain variables. Like horse racing, jockeys have to weigh in, because then you're measuring the horse, not the horse with the lightest jockey. And jiu-jitsu is a game of power. The goal is to maximize our own strength and minimize someone else's, and hope the numbers match up. And sometimes they just don't. So that idea of a smaller person beating a bigger person comes with a giant asterisk. Like, for example, we know about leverage. If I have a lever here and a fulcrum, the further down the lever I go, the more power I can generate. Make sense? Like whipping a door. So if I get someone who's a bit smaller, and they can generate power level 5. So as they move down the lever, it multiplies their power, 5, 10, 15, 20. Cool, they do it right, they get 20. But say I'm already at 20, because I'm bigger. 20, 40, 60, 80. I could almost be doing the wrong thing compared to them doing the right thing, and I can still win, because I'm bigger. And so that's the goal of jiu-jitsu, is to minimize what I can do and maximize what you can do, and hope the numbers match up, and sometimes they just don't. But the goal of this class then is to make sure we're actually maximizing what we do, and not trying to hamstring ourselves. And so I'm going to be like explaining pressure in like a very broad sense, not just how to crush someone, because that gets tired really quickly. So the first thing, the first drill then, is just going to be staying upright. And so pretty much in every sport we have this idea of posture, and when you hear the word posture in jiu-jitsu, it's used in one sense, and that is guard, as in posture up. But posture means like align yourself so you're strong. Like any sport has a posture where you generate power from. Weightlifting, rowing, cricket, baseball, American football, rugby, everything has a strong posture. Yeah, then you get into jiu-jitsu, it just goes out the window because you want to do technique. So let's maximize posture first, let's be strong. And all it is I'm going to align my spine from my ear holes to my arseholes. Singular. Specify that one. Motherfucker. Okay, so I align my shoulders, so my elbow's turned in. The more I have my elbow rotated out, the more it affects my shoulder. And my core joints, my hips and my shoulders, if they get affected, normally breaks my posture. So I'll keep those aligned. So I'm going to align my joints, hips, and shoulders. I'm going to align my spine. I'm going to imagine I'm lifting a really heavy dumbbell, like the heaviest I've ever lifted. So I'm going to position myself, shoulder blades down my back. That's my posture. And I don't break that unless you really force it. And the more I've done this seminar, everywhere I've gone, the more I realize that every time you do a technique in jiu-jitsu, you have to break their posture and their balance first. And I used to think it used to probably be about 75% of the time, they just gave you shit posture. And maybe 25% you'd break it. The more I do this seminar, the more I do this class, the closer I'm getting to 100%, everyone has shit posture. No one knows what the fuck to do with someone who's got good posture. So all you gotta do is go into your partner's guard. I don't want you to go balls to the wall because you're learning something new. And your partner's just gonna attack you. And you're not gonna do anything. You're gonna pretend they're a ghost and you don't believe in ghosts. Motherfucker. Yeah, let's move this way so I don't end up headbutting the camera if you throw me around. And all I'm gonna do is align myself. They can do what the hell they want. I'm gonna keep my posture. I'm gonna keep connecting to the ground. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. And they're just gonna attack me and I'm gonna ignore them. You can throw triangles. You can try and sweep me. And I'm just trying to keep my connection. You can go for that triangle, yeah, sure. Go for it. Go for it, finish it. I know it isn't. Boring as hell. Does that make sense? So just do nothing. When I talked about my toes just, I use a car analogy of engines, tires, and gas tanks. Your engine is your ability to generate power, right? Your musculature, like how much power can you generate? Your tires are your feet. What are your connection to the ground? If I have shit tires, I could have the most powerful car in the world. I could get the world's strongest man and tell him to push a car. He's going to push that damn car. How can I stop him from pushing a car without affecting him or the car? Put him on ice. If he hasn't got a good connection to the ground, he could be super powerful. Means nothing. So if my feet are like this, can you push many things if your feet are like that? No. Can you if you're like this? Yes. That's better tires. That's how I know if someone's actually going to be a pain in my ass when it comes to guard passing. Is if you're sitting like this, I'm like, oh cool, they've got nothing. They've got flat tires. They've got no ability to give me pressure. Cool, I can leave now. Someone who's like this, I'll actually look when I'm sitting in guard, and I'll just quickly go. Ah, okay, he's a problem. But if their toes are flat, I'm like, cool, this is gonna be an easy day. Does that make sense? So I will look at your toes just to see how much like you suck. So connect your feet to the ground, have good tires, have a good engine, okay? And see how awkward that is. Just keep that tripod posture, hips aligned, just adjust if you need to. Do not build on them. They are quicksand. If they're a tripod and the tripod moves, you have a problem. Does that make sense? Cool? Just go feel it. One person, and I don't really believe in drilling. I'm gonna be like, try this idea. And you'll be like, and then that's it. Hey, it won't take long. Make sense? So build a stable tripod, build a stable structure, good connection into the ground, good tires, good engine, and ignore them. That's it. And your partner's just gonna throw increasing levels of shit and get that feedback of how awkward it feels. Roughly go so on the same power level as you. When you have like a giant person and a tiny person, we're throwing everything off. Because I said this is a power game. Make sense? Cool, enjoy. I'll see you in like a few minutes. Did that work? Yeah, I was watching. That's hilarious. I just killed all submissions in guard. It took me like 5 minutes. Fucking hell. So I had a conversation with an American coach called Greg Souders about a year ago on my podcast, hint, hint. And one thing he was saying was like when Danaher refers to this idea of kazushi, of breaking the balance, what he's referring to isn't the idea of like just pushing someone and them losing balance. He refers to it as like messing up their body so it doesn't function as well. Like balance is part of it. Like if I push you over, like it doesn't matter if you're a white belt or a black belt, you'll do this. Like you can't overwrite your human instinct. Like black belts don't suddenly get pushed and go like this and fall over. You always put your hand out. And so balance is one thing. The only thing that changes is you push a white belt and you go, ah, and come back. You push a black belt, they go, cool. That's the only difference. They still react. The other part is your posture. And this is going to be the part of the next drill, is that for you to generate power, you naturally give yourself posture. I assume some of you have been to a gym before, just looking around. And anytime you want to do a decent lift in the gym, you align yourself just before you go. You don't have a poor posture unless you do CrossFit. You hate the spine. And that's the exact same here. If I'm attacking someone, I'm always trying to break their posture. I'm trying to keep them broken at all times. Because they have to align themselves to be able to do anything. And so what I want you to do now is go back to the exact same situation, lower the resistance, press on the floor, like, build your way back up again, go from 1 to 10, don't go 1, 10. So the other person on top can play and learn and experience. And all you're going to do is bend them in some way. Bend them, hyperextend them, or twist them. Mess up their spine. That's all I want you to do. And see how frustrating it is. Half guard is a brilliant example. So I'm going to keep my tripod, I'm going to keep my structure, that's the most important part. Your partner's going to be in half guard. And as soon as you see them bend in some way, twist them, bend them, or hyperextend them, just put something there. I don't mean like grab it and pull it in. I'll show what I mean in a second. You're just going to put a bar there. And that's it. And then they're going to try and do stuff. And they're going to realize that they don't like it like that. Like they might even bend themselves up, but when they try and move, they try and get their posture to be able to generate power. I just take it away from them for a second. It was actually funny. I had a video come out 5 years ago. Last time I was in Estonia, it went quite well, called Defend Everything. What was funny is that a coach straight after that kicked the shit out of me. That's like the unspoken part. It was Wim de Putte. He's a brilliant coach. He then kicked the fuck out of me. And all he did was, I was in Running Man, on my side in side control. Thank you, sir. Just lying side. Yes, this way. Thank you. And all he did was he went like that. And as I tried to move, he created this horrible bamboo cage around me. And as I'd moved, he made it smaller. He wasn't pulling it in, he was just making this cage. And as I moved again to try and escape, he made it smaller. And I was like, this is fucking horrifying. And all he was doing was bending me up. And every time I tried to push back, I'd try and resist, he might let it happen a little bit, and then I'd relax, he'd make it smaller again. He wasn't trying to cradle me or anything, he wasn't using strength, he's not a big guy. This is what I mean, people will give you bad posture. Go feel that. Try the side control version, it's hilarious. All you're going to do is have one person lie on their side, facing away or whatever, and you're just going to put a couple of bars around them. And as they try and move and get out, you make that thing smaller. And it sucks. It sucks so bad. Makes sense? And then feel it from half guard. Because people do that shit all the time to you. The only problem is now that you've seen it, the person on the bottom is going to be like, no, I ain't doing that. You have to kind of forget the last 5 minutes. Okay? Just play around, see what happens when your posture goes all wrong. So twist them, bend them, hyperextend them. Make sense? Yes.
Could you show some of the hyperextension, how you do it?
He don't like you. What I've been using recently is I play a lot of three-quarter mount. I'm going to talk about that position as well. So I like sitting here. People have hope. And as they then try and move in, I just put a bar there and try to extend them out. So I'm squeezing into his back and then pushing his face.
Those were my teeth, Chris.
Sorry, dude. My bad. There you go. Can you do much?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, he can't do anything. His back is all weak. I'm pinching his back and moving his face away. And I just hold him here, and he cooks him. Sorry. Make sense? So, and when I say twist them, I mean put their shoulders and their hips in different directions. Spines don't like that. So the thing is, we do this anyway. These aren't things you like. So if I was in half guard, his hips are now facing this way. If I pin his leg to the floor, and if I push his shoulders back, that's uncomfortable. Can you do much?
No.
No. Makes sense. So shoulders one way, hips the other way. Bend them, hyperextend them, and just see how much it sucks. And then try that side control one where you just make a cage that gets infinitely smaller. Cool. Enjoy, or maybe not. Let's see, 5 minutes. So I want you to try something. I said we're going to put like minor bits of rolling in here every now and then. I don't want you to go for submissions. Please do not submit each other. It's not the point. This is an investigative role. I want you to experience the role consciously and be able to comment on the role afterwards to yourself or your partner and go, that happened, or that was interesting, or, oh, you did that. And so your back and your posture is your engine, your ability to generate power. There's a bit more to it. We're going to come into the next part. And your feet and your connection to the ground are your tires. It's why we do jiu-jitsu in the first place, why we take people down. Like your ability to generate power is always through your connection to the ground. That's like I could get the world's strongest man to push a car. He's going to push the car. But if he's on gravel, if he's on ice, if he's on roller skates, he isn't pushing the car, no matter how strong he is. Because it's his connection to the ground that dictates how much he can use it. It's just physics. And that's why we put people on the floor. Because you can't generate as much power when you're off your feet. I mean, you can still generate power. That's why guard is a problem. Is that, if I've got strong legs, I can kick you. But how much I can kick you is dependent on my back on the floor. If I was on a skateboard, I'd do that and just roll away. So it's all dependent on connection to the ground. So I want you to be conscious of that when you have this little round of your partner now. Is I want you to slash their tires and shit in their engine. That's how you're going to deal with them. Don't think about submissions or anything like that. Think, I'm going to fuck up your connection to the ground and I'm going to shit in your engine. All of the time. And I want to see what happens to you. And have a few minutes doing it. Maybe if one person's dominating the other, swap over, get that feeling for it. But don't go for submissions or anything. Just do those things. Like, how are they connecting to the ground? Can I mess with it? Can I put them on their back? That turtle's a prime example. Is that if someone's doing a proper turtle, they can stand up. They can use their feet. Yeah. So I will break his posture. I will shit in his engine and slash his tires. And now he can't do anything. And now I can pull him over. I'm always thinking that how can I do this to you at every second? I don't care about submissions. I don't care about anything else. I just want to do those things to you. And anyone who's probably rolled with me so far this week can probably agree. Does that make sense? So have a short roll, but focus on that idea. Like just chant that to yourself. I'm going to shit in their engine and slash their tires. Please? I want to hear it. Okay? Enjoy, be conscious, and discuss with yourselves once you've done a little bit and gone, that's interesting, or that's not interesting. Cool. Enjoy. Off you go. How did that feel? Did it feel heavy? Yeah, how strange. Weird. So, I think Daniel can agree to this. About 6 years ago, I took up rock climbing because I wanted to get better grip strength. I thought it'd help. I was wrong. Because the more I did rock climbing, the more I realized that you climb with your legs and you just hold yourself to the wall with your hands. And I'd go to the rock climbing gym and I'd be wearing like jiu-jitsu t-shirts and then be going, oh, I want to start jiu-jitsu because I've heard it's good for grip strength. I'm like, no, it's not. It's terrible. Because you do, the better you get at jiu-jitsu, the more you use your legs and the less you use your hands. So it seems like we're both doing the exact same thing. And it's correct. Like you use your legs more. They generate more power. And so if that's where people's power is coming from, I want to limit their power. I want to be holding onto their hips and their legs at all times. And it's only through greed and through the fact that we're normally taught to attack the head and shoulders for all our submissions that we just jump for. But I want to drown your hips. Like someone who's desperate, someone who's slow, someone who's in pain and is being pressured makes silly choices. And people who make silly choices are easy to beat up. Someone who is like postured and smart and balanced, very difficult to submit. If you just go throw submissions at them and hope it sticks, it rarely works. But if you're broken, dead easy. And so what I want to do now is I want one person to be in like side control, and you're not going to try and pin them down or anything. You're going to let them move. You're going to let them move away and roll away into turtle or whatever, and you're just going to keep weight on their hips. That's it. Like, this is what I talked about the 3/4 mount earlier, is that if I had mount here, okay, and I was obsessed with going for the head and shoulders, and I had no pressure on the hips. Like, he could get quarter guard and go to half guard, dead easy. There's no, his hips can move. But as soon as I attach to his hips, that's why I like this, because I pinch my knees in. And if he wants to go half guard now, he might get it. Look how much that sucks for him. It takes him so much longer. And so all the time, like even if he wants to roll away from side control into turtle, like if I had hold of his shoulders, he wants to roll away, yep, he gets up. And he can move around, he can stand up, he can do what the hell he wants. But if I just put some weight on his hips, if I just box his hips in, and he does the exact same thing, he might get there, but it's like driving with the handbrake half on. Like, yeah, okay, you may get to your destination, but your car's not feeling great now. Always, the second I, again, go for this, he's just gonna stand up. He can move, he can do what he wants. But if I've always got something on his hips and his legs, he can do what the hell he wants now. There's a little box on his hips, and that's it. And now his legs don't work. I never let go of the legs and hips. And that's the main part of my pressure, is that everything you want to do now sucks. Make sense? So you have one person just trying to move around, try and get up, try to go turtle, try and do various things, try the 3/4 mount. Just focus on crushing their hips. Attach yourself to the hips, put their hips in a little box, and keep them in that box. And then play with that, and then do the same where you're not focusing on the hips. And look how much freeing it is. And then think, why would you do that to someone? I want them to suffer. Make sense? So go just attach their hip. Yep.
Can you just show how you do it from the side control again? Control the hip from the side.
So I don't really hold much side control. I'm always boxing the hips in some way. So I might hold position here, but he might try and shrimp. It's hard because his hips are slow. I might purposely sit just here. I'll bring my knee and my ankle in towards his hip here, so I'm like rotating on my foot, pinching his hips in, sitting on his leg. And I'm happy here. He can push me, he can try and fight me back, and yeah, okay, cool. It sucks for him. Yeah, everything sucks. But as soon as I go, shoulders, yeah, he can move. He's got his engine back. Make sense? Yeah, so that's how you shit in their engine even more. So go take further ones into their engine, just control their hips, and get that feedback on how much that sucks. Cool?
Cool.
Yeah?
Control the hips. If you are with a knee on belly, you will go more on knee on hips, or
Yeah, if I'm playing like the on belly, I'll still box them in, so I might sit more here and hook into the leg. But I'm still bringing this one in and just sucking it into the back. So can you move now? It sucks. Posture. Make sense? Enjoy. It's not like a technique. I can't say, oh, grab it this way. It is adaptable, so you have to find your own way. Cool? Enjoy. Well, that's exactly what I said earlier, as in, when we go to competition, the question was like, what if they're super strong with their upper body? And that's the problem, is like, this is a power-based game, and stronger people generate more power. And that's why in competition, we try and limit that power variable. Then we go back into somewhere like this, or our own gyms, and it's an open mat. It's an open weight open mat. And then we get sad when bigger people do things to us. Well, no, it sucks, like, because I get a lot of messages of, like, people saying, oh, I'm a I'm a 60 kilo purple belt and 100 kilo blue belts kick my ass. Yeah. What do you want me to do? I can't fix physics for you. Right? Big people strong. And that's, yeah, it's shit. And it's kind of the whole purpose of this is that if someone is like that, my only bit of advice would be sit behind their guns. Like arms, it seems almost silly to say out loud. Like arms only work this way. Like, so if I can sit behind you, I'd rather sit behind you. Ooh, we'll talk about that actually. This is interesting. It's like a nutter. So this is like fascinating for me because this is how my brain is working all the time in a role. I'm doing like maths and geometry all of the time and doing things to cars. So if I had like a bicycle wheel, I assume you know what they are. It's Europe. This is America, like what? That poor people thing. So you have the rear wheel, you have the gears, and you have the rim. And basic maths, like so if I have a small circle and it moves 90 degrees, it might move 4 or 5 centimeters. If I have a larger circle and that moves 90 degrees, it's going to move like 20, 30 centimeters. So in pretty much every exchange in jiu-jitsu, there's a circle. We're moving around someone in some way. And understanding where the center of the circle is critical. Is that slight amendments in the middle can make massive adjustments on the outside. And that could be as dumb as arm drags. So say if I'm looking at doing a bit of stand-up with someone, and I'm thinking, right, I want to arm drag them. The difference between being here and here is massive. You didn't see that, there and there. Because if Daniel wants to go around me here, and my shoulders sit a bit narrow, just walks around, yeah, they're quick. But if I sit, come back, if I just open my shoulder a little bit, now he wants to go around, he's got to go way further. Like, that's something small adjustment for me, massive adjustment for him, because he's on the outside of the circle. So even understanding how I want to get around someone, I have to be measuring those circles. Because at the same time, if I can make a small adjustment on him, big adjustment on me. Or just knowing at the right time to go. So if I'm playing with someone and they're sitting quite flat like that, I'm like, there's no point in me trying to circle them. It's too far. But if he leads forwards on the arm just a little bit to try and attack, he shortens the circle. Now's the time to go. Also, there's distance. Like here, big circle. Take all day long. If I can get close, small circle. So I cut the distance at the last second. Same with guard passing, same with all those things. Same with like, if you want to take someone's back from close guard. So if Daniel's in close guard, if you want to go like a 180 to my back, he's got to move 180. Like, so if I do this, he's now got to travel too far. If I do this, travels a lot less. Slight adjustments for me, big adjustment for him. I've saved him travel time. That's why if I'm going to take someone's back with like a bit of a close guard or half guard situation, so from close guard, thank you. I'll come out to the side and I'll fix my travel time. I'll just pop the hip a little bit. There you go. Now I've got less to go. Now climb up. So I'm always like reading little things like that when we're sparring, just to measure like my travel time on certain things, see if it's worth it. And if you're sitting too flat or too shallow, I'll make those decisions. Or I'll mess with you. Like, there's been a few times I'll like be sitting with an arm drag on people. I'm aware that my shoulder may be a bit too narrow, so I can expose my back. So if he wants to circle me, shit. But if I sit wider shouldered, now he wants to take my back, you can't find it. Too far. So I'll just, that. Make sense? It's like, yeah, so if you're gonna take people's back more, but that's a really important thing to try and study, is maths. Boringly. Does that make sense? Sorry, a bit of a tangent on that one. Anyway, so finally, for this little part on pressure, if you want to be heavier, focus your weight into tiny points. Like if I had a euro, be appropriate, and a thumbtack, and I want to push them both into the ground, which one pisses the ground? Thumbtack. Even though I'm leaning on them the exact same amount, one has all that pressure focused into a tiny point, PSI. And so if I am a euro, yeah, I'm relatively heavy. I'm a big boy. But if I choose something sharp and pointy, so corner of my shoulder, elbow, knee, hip, ribs if you're feeling spicy, and I put those on him instead, yeah, I'm super heavy now. So I move around on all those sharp corners because I want to take my silly amount of weight and make it worse. Also, this is really funny. Move this way. Sorry, I've got mount. Cool. Also, your positioning with your weight on a lever is really, really cool. So if Daniel has my arm wrapped up here and he wants to bridge me to my left, yeah, he could. How can I stop him bridging me to my left with my arm trapped? Pardon?
Putting weight on the right side.
Yeah, there you go. Because now my hand weighs like 50 kilos. Now it doesn't. Yeah, I can go. Yeah. But if I'm here, I'll then figure out a bit of like leverage weight and go, right, this now weighs 50 kilos. Now it's super heavy. So when I'm adjusting my weight around, I'll also think, right, how can I make something heavier by moving it on the end of a lever, my head or my arm, my leg, my ass. And I'll try and think where the sharp points of my body, hip bones, ribs, pointy part of the shoulder, chin, elbow, knee. And I'll focus my weight on that all times, just to make myself heavier or feel heavier. Make sense? So go feel that. Feel that, because that's really interesting about just shifting your weight and making a really long, heavy weight off a lever. And then pick sharp points of your body and put those on your partner and see how they feel. Mount's a good place. You can put your hip bone in, side control, any of those things. We already do knee on belly, that's boring. Be adventurous. Cool? Go feel it, go be heavy.
I don't want to use my elbow. I think
So this is stolen from another Globetrotters coach. I just steal shit. His name's Raul Haldu from Amsterdam. Very, very smart guy. Terrifying leg locks. And he came and did like leg pressure at my gym. And I was like, ooh, I have to study this. And again, it seems so obvious. I'm so sad it took me 15 years. If I was to cut a straw with some scissors, I wouldn't do that. That looks dumb. I'd put it in there and then start cutting. Makes more sense because I can generate more pressure. So if I'm gripping onto something, I'm not using my hands to do it. I'm always using either my inner elbow, my armpit, my hip, behind my knee, my groin. And the more I get into open up the apex and then wedge it in and then close it, the more powerful. That's why I say straw is probably better to understand. Right there, it won't go any further. I'm missing so much. If I open up and get it in further and then start closing, I generate more power. So say if I was going for a leg lock, like an inside heel hook, move this way, preference. So I could use the back of my knee or my groin on this one. If I go here, I'll try and crush it in. No, nothing there. But look how much apex I'm missing off my leg. All of it, essentially. But if I can find a way of positioning it behind my knee first, and then closing in, I generate more pressure. Yeah, now his leg's not moving. Same with my groin. If I squeeze his leg here, no. But if I open up my groin first, put it right in there, and then close up, yeah, can you move your leg?
no.
No. And that's how he was generating these horrendous leg locks. He was just opening up these apexes first and then closing them. And you realize pretty much every grip in jiu-jitsu has this involved. If you were to just open up a little bit, then he showed me his ankle lock, and I was like, God damn, that's cool. Is that, this way, please? Oh, sorry, pressure. If I have it here, his foot can move around. Because look how much I'm missing. There's loads. But if I open up my apex first, and then close it, and then lean on it, I'm not even putting the ankle lock on yet, but can you move your foot? No. It's been crushed. Just because I moved it into the open apex first. Chokes, exactly the same way, like an arm triangle. Open arm first. Make sure I can feel his neck on my inner elbow before I start closing. And then, pressure's in there. That's why bomb flu chokes suck. Till now. But if I go through here and start trying to squeeze, eventually I'll get it. But if I go open elbow, first, then close, so what do there? Free pressure on every grip. Like my students then modify that into the great white grip. So when they'll go for like arm drags, stand up, is they'll come through, grip through here, and then lock it in. And then they'll just drag you around. And I'm like, God damn, they're strong. They do that everywhere, every grip. They're just thinking, where's my apex? Can I open up the apex? And then I'll scissor it down. Does that make sense? It's very interesting. Every choke, every grip gets stronger when you do this. So go explore. Like if you want to try that one, the Great White, it's basically like an arm drag. I'm just going in elbow deep, here, and then closing it up. So I'm not here where there's still arm left. I want to make sure I can feel him on the open apex. And then I lock it in. I can drag you around. Leg locks. If I want to squeeze in, I'm going to use my groin or the back of my knee. If I'm doing ankle locks, I'll open up my armpit, get it in, and then close it, and then lean on it. Arm triangles, Von Flews, open elbow, then shut it. Make sense? Last little bit, go feel it, go see how much how much you've been missing out on. It's fascinating. Looked at the time. I don't want to take up your precious rolling time. I'll be on time. British punctuality. Thank you for attending the class. If there's been anything interesting you want me to go over further, I will be around in the open mat. If you don't want to feel that kind of pressure, don't roll with me. I have no interest in doing anything else other than that. So as a basic recap, slash their tires. Make sure their feet have got a poor connection to the ground. Make sure again, how many of these things do you think you weren't doing and you're self-limiting? You're attacking with bad posture, attacking with this, thinking that's giving you good. Like, look at that. Bad posture, poor connection to the ground, Christmas. It's so easy when you do that. Just align your spine, align like this. Terrible. This has no power. This on my toes and my legs in, loads of power. Like I can drive through that car. Okay? Make sense? So think about how your joints are aligned. Think about how your connection to the ground is. Think about theirs. Slash their tires. Shit in their engine. Make sure you're not doing it to your own car. That sounds silly. And if you're against someone who's bigger than you, shit happens. Maximize your own by doing the right thing. Minimize theirs. You have to minimize theirs. There was a giant sausage I was rolling with yesterday, the Estonian dude, and he is jacked as shit. And I thought there's no way I can just rush this guy and have poor discipline, because that's the only thing that's going to stop me from winning is bad discipline, because he will kill me. Does that make sense? So the only thing that's going to limit you now, you saw this in the first drill. If you have good posture, you're very difficult to deal with. I didn't give you a fucking technique. I just said, hey, how about you just don't be shit? And you're like, oh yeah, cool. And you did better. That's all it took. And so you think the only thing limiting you now is just discipline. Just stay postured, stay good connection to the ground. You'll do better. And then make them work for all those things. Like you saw, it's really hard breaking someone's posture. Which makes you think, every time you've been caught, you just had shit posture. So it'll be a really interesting open mat. Please grab me if you want to go for anything else. The apex stuff that interests you, etc. Just don't rush your submissions. Someone who's broken is way easier to deal with than someone who is fresh, who's postured, who's balanced. Break their balance, break their posture, shit in their gas tank, whatever you want to do. Someone who's tired is definitely much easier to deal with. Make sense? Yeah. Thank you for your time. This has always been. I've been so excited for this class all week. I've been so good at this on Friday. But yeah, thank you, and yeah, that's a speed.